Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you all are doing well. This is Mohammad Badruddin, and today we are going to solve lab number 4, where we are gonna see account hijacking via redirect URI in OAuth process. So if you remember the first request where we request the authorization code from the OAuth API service, in the redirect URI parameter, we mention the endpoint where the OAuth API service will send us the authorization code. So we will see that in a minute. So this lab uses an OAuth service to allow users to log in with their social media account. A misconfiguration by OAuth provider makes it possible for an attacker to steal authorization code associated with other users' accounts. Now, to solve the lab, we need to steal an authorization code associated with the administrator user, and then we will use it to access the account of administrator. And to solve the lab, we need to delete the Carlos account. Fine. Um, in this scenario, in this lab, the administrator user will open anything you send from the exploit server, and they always have an active session with the OAuth service. So we will kind of craft a CSRF attack, and we will send a malicious link or malicious page by phishing or something, so that once the administrator will access that, we will get the authorization code. So first of all, we will uh, make sure that we are getting the authorization code somehow, and for that purpose, for testing, we will have one valid user account. Our username will be Wiener and the password is Peter. Now just turn on the burp proxy and access the lab, which I already did here. So this is our lab. Now I'm gonna manage these windows a bit so that we can see both of these windows simultaneously. So let's go. I'm gonna directly click on my account, and now you can see it's redirecting us to log in with the social media, and this is the endpoint for that. And here we need to log in. So our social media account username is Wiener and the password is Peter. It could be email or password. So uh, just log in. So once we try to log in, you can see one request is generated. This is the request, and this request is very important. This is the first part of the OAuth. So here we are gonna tell the OAuth API service that okay, send us the authorization code on this with this endpoint. Response type is code. That means we are using authorization code grant flow, grant type, and the scope is this. One more thing to be mentioned here, that state parameter is not there in this request, so this could be vulnerable to CSRF. We will see that in a minute. And once the third party application is trying to access this information from the service about the user, so user must provide the consent. So once we provide the consent, you will see that authorization code is already sent to us on this endpoint, what we mentioned in the redirect URI, and this is our code. Now whenever we try to access our account with the social media, we will use this code. Fine. So in some ways, we have one code that is there is a time limit. We can use this unique authorization code up to 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes, and maybe every time we will get the unique authorization code. So it depends on the implementation, but here the thing is, we need to use this code, and every time we log out and log in again, so you will see this request which asks authorization code from the OAuth API service, and directly you will see this request, because once you call the authorization code, you get the authorization code and you use that authorization code. Fine. Because we already provide the consent to third party application to access my information, so in between this process or these requests, maybe you will not see. Fine. So just continue to see the account, and here you can see if I go to my account, um, we are logged in. So this is our username, this is our email. Fine. Now if I log out and let's go to my account again, it will not ask username and password. Now it's redirecting us to the login with social media, and it's trying to log in us with the social media account. And you can see here, this time we just ask the authorization code from the OAuth API service, and we get the code, and we are trying to access that authorization code to access my account. In between, consent and everything we already provided to the application, so not needed every time. Okay, and we are in, good to go. So the thing here is, if we take this request, okay, and let's send this request to the repeater and go to the repeater. Fine. If I try here, instead of redirect URI, instead of this endpoint, if I try to provide our exploit server, so we are just trying to access any out of band endpoint, so that we will be sure that okay, the authorization code can be sent to anywhere, whatever we mentioned in the redirect URI. Okay, and here is the flaw, because if the authorization code can be sent anywhere, then we can trick the user to send his authorization code to me. So let's send this request, and you can see 302 found, and if we try to follow redirection, you can see 200 okay, hello world, which is here. That means and you can see also the authorization code is being generated, and we have it. Now if we go to the access log, you can see once we try to follow redirect, and once we try to send the request of authorization code, asking for authorization code, follow the redirection, the access code, authorization code is being leaked here. But the thing is, this is not beneficial. Why? Because this authorization code belongs to me. I want to victimize someone else so that we can leak the victim authorization code, and then we will use that code to log in with victim user account. Fine. So for that purpose, what I'm gonna do here is, as we saw before, that here there is no state parameter. There is no state parameter here. So this may be vulnerable to CSRF. So what I'm gonna do here is, I'm going to create one iframe where I'm gonna say source is equal to, and let's close the iframe tag, and source is equal to what? Source is equal to this same thing. So I'm going to copy URL and paste it here. But what I'm gonna do is redirect URI. This is the redirect URI. Fine. Okay, that's perfect. So I'm going to store this, and to test this exploit, I'm gonna view exploit. Okay, so in view exploit, if we scroll down, you can see invalid request. This is the problem. Invalid request means we will not get the authorization code. Let me check one time to the access log. Yeah, it's trying to access the slash exploit endpoint, but there is nothing. So back to the exploit server. Let's remove this and store it. View exploit again. Again, invalid request. Access log. Okay, let's try to send this exploit directly to the victim, and we will see whether we get it or not. Let's check one more time. So iframe source is equal to, this is the request, client ID is this. Let me check one more time my client ID. This is the client ID V7B, okay, 27M. Fine. Redirect URI. This is our exploit server. Response type is code. Seems okay. So store it and deliver exploit to the victim. It's delivered. Now try to access the log. So it may take some time because in this process victim must access your exploit. Refresh again, and if victim will access that exploit, that malicious page, you will find here a different IP. One more thing I can try is disable the burp proxy from the browser and refresh it again. Fine, the burp proxy is disabled. Come back here and store this exploit again and deliver it to the victim. Deliver exploit to the victim again. Go to the access log and just refresh the page. Nothing. Okay, I'm going to log out again and log in again. Okay, turn on the burp proxy so that I just want to make sure that the request is must be current request, so that the client ID may be no, but the client ID is always same, v7bq. This is what we saw before. Fine, no problem. I'm gonna copy this request from here, copy URL, go to the exploit server, and source is equal to this, and here instead of redirect URI, instead of this, I'm going to mention our exploit server. Copy and paste it here. Rest of the thing seems perfect. Store the exploit and deliver exploit to the victim. Go to the access log. No. Still not. Although if we go to the repeater and we try, because the request is same and there is no issue, if we send this request again, let's see the code is leaked or not. So follow the redirection, and again you can see 200. Okay, fine. So if we refresh this, you can see this is the code. So code is being leaked, no problem with the burp suite, and once we try to access, but up to now we do not get a hit from a different IP from the victim. So I don't know, the issue is in the connection or somewhere or with the lab. Let me check it and we'll come back. Okay guys, welcome back, and I found few thing very interesting, like what we are getting. We are getting the same error, right? Once we try to view exploit, we get the same error, which is invalid session, invalid request, right? The same error is being defined here. Someone reported it to the port figure, and they are talking about it. Okay, due to some current issues with the embedded browser, I believe that you use the view exploit functionality you would need to use with the standard version of Chrome. Um, so they talk about it, and uh, this is the Chrome version it's using, and he's saying that we need to navigate to the privacy and security, tracking protection, and then you need to add this site to allow to use third-party cookies. Okay, and then you can solve the lab, maybe solve this issue. So let's see. What I am using is totally different. I'm using the Firefox. If we go, okay, now here's the thing. You need to wait and you need to keep working on it. Now you can see all of these codes come in one time. I don't know what was the issue, but it seems like the admin user, victim user keep accessing our malicious page, but on slash exploit only. Okay, on slash exploit only. So if we come back here and we try to remove this exploit endpoint from the exploit server, deliver exploit to the victim, and refresh the page for access log. Let's see. Yeah, it's still accessing. So if we add here slash exploit endpoint, it will the code will leak with the endpoint, and if we do not make slash exploit endpoint, the code will be leaked like this. So this is the final and the recent code, which I'm gonna take it from here. So copy this and I'm gonna paste it here. Fine. So what I'm going to do here is go back to the this callback function, this callback request, and I'm going to copy this URL and paste it here. Then we need to just use this code, because this code belongs to the admin user. So paste it. Okay, now if we try to access this URL, okay, come back here. First of all, make sure that you are logged out, because if your session is already established, then maybe you cannot access that, and it will ask, it will say that okay, your session is already established. Okay, and now you can see the admin panel appear here. Go to the admin panel, and to solve the lab, delete the Carlos account. Fine, and congratulations, we solved the lab. Now if we go to the my account page, you can see we are logged in as administrator. Why? Because the code we steal from here, this code belongs to the administrator user, And how we get this code, because we craft a CSRF attack to send a malicious page or malicious link to the victim. Once victim try to access that uh, during OAuth process, so it's sending actually the authorization code on this endpoint, on this server, which is exploit server, our controlled exploit server. So instead of sending the authorization code to the genuine endpoint, to the genuine destination, it sends the authorization code to us. But one thing to make sure that you need to have much patience to solve this lab, because you see that how much time it took us to get the response from the victim. Maybe there is something that is stopping these responses coming to us, or maybe the burp proxy, because you can see here I already disabled the burp proxy. Okay, this red sign means the proxy is disabled. So whatever is that, you need to check everything, you need to test everything. And that's it for this lab. I hope you enjoy the lab. If you like the content, please like, subscribe and share. I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye.